Hi guys, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about South Park Season 24. At the time of writing this video, South Park doesn't have a return date, but I do expect them to turn out a season this year, or beginning of next year. Or do what they did the previous years and just divide the season in half. The only reason I say this is because, admittedly, one of the only good parts about the pandemic is the fact that animation is getting kind of a boom, since you can basically do it anywhere, unlike live action. One of modern South Park's strengths is the fact that they are able to talk about current events, since the episodes are made 6 days before airing. Not a lot of people, me myself, do wonder what they are going to talk about this year, since admittedly they have a lot of stuff to work with. Of course, South Park's team doesn't really have a plot or an episode set in stone until the season itself is in production, so I thought it'd be cool to talk about some possible ideas they might have for the season, when the time comes. In recent times, the seasons usually have some story, but nowadays they are pretty episodic with a kind of convoluted plot here and there. So the plots I pick usually are probably going to be standalone, maybe like 1 or 2 season-long plots, but mostly just standalone and might get referenced next episode kind of plots. Now, before I begin, I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm not trying to bash on anybody. I'm not trying to say you're wrong. I'm just trying to say what could happen. If you want to talk or you have your own ideas, just post them in the comment section below. But do it peacefully and do it respectfully. Please don't attack anybody. Thank you. Again, a lot of stuff has happened this year, and a lot more stuff probably will happen. So let's discuss some of the various plots they could do. Starting with an episode about the election. South Park always does one election episode every 4 years, since that's when elections happen. So this episode is almost certainly gonna occur. Obviously, there's 2 ways this can happen, so let me discuss. A, the red team wins. Harrison wins his second term, so he goes crazier with power and tries to become a dictator. Honestly, I'm having a little trouble with this one, if only because there's not that much they could do besides he just goes crazy with power. I feel maybe they could do something like World War III happens, but that's about it. They could also do, say, B, the blue team wins. I think the creators are kind of betting on this outcome since they follow the polls, but considering OGs, they might want to do both sides, which is why I decided to do both. Now, if this outcome does happen, I could see it going like Garrison doesn't want to leave the White House, so he gets forced out, or he does leave and he has to return to South Park and deal with all the stuff he caused, thinking nothing really happened. I suppose since we're on the subject of Mr. Garrison, we should discuss an episode about TikTok. So, TikTok is about to get banned in the US because of security reasons. I don't have too much time to get into why, but a reason is because it collects data on people. The fact the government's banning an app would make a hilarious episode for South Park. Honestly, I could see them doing a whole episode about this. Like, the kids really like doing TikTok, but then all of a sudden it gets banned, so they have to find something else. Or they have to protest the fact TikTok's getting banned, or something like that. Just show how outrageous it is. And since we're on the subject of TikTok and data, I think another good episode would be an episode about privacy online. Pretty much an open secret that Google and social media track what you do, and then they sell it to advertisers. Heck, I've even heard some people say they listen into you on your phone or your computer. The show can do a whole episode where they acknowledge it's happening, and nobody really cares about it. Yeah, they had Let It Go, Let Gov, which was a super funny episode, but they could always do some kind of, like, sequel episode to it. An episode about streaming shows. Last season, the show parodied the fact they got sold to HBO Max, so I feel they can kind of parody other shows, or shows that are streaming-based, such as Big Mouth, which is a show about kids going through puberty, and it's on Netflix. It can show maybe how gross it is, or how underrated it is, or both. Central Park, which is a show you should really check out. It's about a family who runs a park, and Central Park, and it gets taken over, and it's a musical, and it's really cool. Maybe they can have a whole episode about musicals. Handmaid's Tale. Now, honestly, I was a little bummed they didn't do a plot about this before, but it would be kind of good to do it now. During the lockdown, maybe Sharon's only allowed to go out to go to the grocery store, since in the show the handmaids are basically confined in their rooms 24/7, and they only need to go on a daily walk to the store. So maybe Sharon's going to the store, and it gets like narrations in her head, like Handmaid's Tale. Tiger King. Maybe, like Fatbeard, Cartman tries to go live with tigers, or he owns a tiger, or something like that. BOJACK Horseman, where they can do how serious it is, but zany at the same time. Or they could do a sister show, To Converti, where it's basically BOJACK's zany sister show. Or just story-driven shows in general. They did an episode that made fun of shows like Girls. I feel they can make fun of shows like Steven Universe, or Infinity Train, or The Owl House, or Gravity Falls. An episode about Meghan Markle. Honestly, that is another episode I'm kind of a little bummed they didn't make, but eh. Earlier this year, Meghan announced she and Harry were stepping down from the royal family. To be honest, this is one I'm hoping for because I'm a big royal family nerd, so I could see, say, a la Michael Jefferson, that the Prince of Canada's brother moves to South Park with his family. Or if they want to, they can do a whole episode on the royal family, since, honestly, I'm a little surprised they didn't do an episode of Prince Andrew when he did that whole big interview. An episode about vaccines. I know last season did do something with Cartman getting his shots, but a plotline about getting your shots now is important more than ever. It doesn't have to be anti-vaxxers, it can be about flu shots or just a cure for the pandemic in general. We need to do an episode where the kids go on a journey to go find the vaccine. An episode about cuties. This is a current event, and honestly, this would almost definitely be an episode. Basically, Netflix got the streaming rights to show a French movie about a group of girls who have a twerking club, and they're little kids, so this has obviously gotten a lot of controversy. Now, a plot like this would be ripe for South Park. In Season 8, they did an episode where Paris Hilton opens a store, and all the kids come and they try to be like Paris Hilton. I can honestly see them doing something like this for this season. Like, maybe Wendy's friends all start a twerking club, and Mr. Slave's like, no, you can't do that, girls. Number 8, an episode about police brutality, riots, and protesting in general. Now, this is another plotline I'm almost 100% they're gonna do, if only because this is South Park. I have to give credit where credit's due. One of South Park's major strengths is how they deal with race, especially with apologies to Jesse Jackson when it comes to empathy. Maybe this episode is from Token's perspective and we see what it's like and it's a parody of, say, Blackish, since they are doing different episodes that are in, like, a parody of something, like For the Ladies. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm doing a lot of PC Principal plotlines, but I can almost certainly see him doing something with Token, or trying to support Token and being concerned why, say, Token doesn't riot or something like that. Now, admittedly, this would be kind of a rehash of Tweak and Craig and what PC Principal did with Jimmy, but eh. An episode about colorblind casting. Now, if you're unaware, colorblind casting is where you cast somebody who isn't the race or coded to the race of that character. It'd be like, say, the fact Samurai Jack isn't voiced by an actual Asian man, he's voiced by Phil Lamar, who's an admittedly really good actor. Like, he was Hermes from Futurama, and he was the judge from Billy and Mandy, and he was really funny. The reason why it's such a big hot-button issue is because of the fact that some view it as blackface, and some view it as taking away the roles from other actors. So a lot of colorblind casted actors have stepped back from their roles, like Jenny Slate, or Christian Bell, or VeggieTales of all people. Really, I'm not even joking. Now, this is a super controversial topic, and while I'm not really sure if it'll be an episode, tackling super controversial topics is South Park's bread and butter. I can see this being another PC Principal episode. Maybe it's an episode where he gets paired up with Token, or Token gets paired up with Strong Woman. Honestly, I'm really surprised they haven't done this until then. That would be a really funny plotline. An episode about YouTube. For many people, YouTube is not only an extra moneymaker, but it's a career. But in recent years, YouTube hasn't been the best to its creators, especially with recent censorship and the adpocalypse. During the pandemic, a lot of people have lost their jobs, so maybe some of the families turn to YouTube and they try to become YouTube content creators. Or it makes fun of YouTube scandals like, say, Logan Paul or Super Mario Logan or stuff like that. An episode about gender reveals. If you haven't been around in recent years, or you don't really have anybody with little kids, a tradition that has come about is where you reveal if the unborn child is a girl or a boy, and oftentimes you don't know until everybody else knows. For example, you can cut a cake in half, and then if the cake is blue, you're having a boy.
Now, gender reveals have gotten a lot of flack in recent years, since some people view them as just waste of money.
In fact, one of the gender reveal parties was so crazy, it actually sparked the El Dorado wildfire in California. And since we're on that topic, an episode about wildfires. This is another current event, and it's kind of like crazy enough I could see South Park doing it. Now, this might tie into the pandemic, if only because the reason why there's so many wildfires is because of the fact that they can't get all the firefighters out there as fast enough as they can. I could see them doing an episode where, say, the kids go to California and they try to help put out the wildfires. And along the way, they learn about proper fire safety, if only because sometimes South Park is pretty good with its message. Or if they want to keep it local, maybe something happens to Integrity Farms, like there's a gender reveal gone wrong, and then they have to deal with the wildfires that happened there. It could work as an excuse for them to get the Marshes back to South Park, since a lot of people aren't really fond of the Integrity Farm story. I mean, I think it's okay, just way too much focus. Now yes, California isn't the only place that has rampant wildfires, unfortunately. I could see them maybe going to Australia, or the Amazon, or something like that. Just talking about wildfires in general. An episode on the Mulan live-action remake. Now, there's a lot of controversy going on with the Mulan live-action remake. Because of the pandemic, it got released on a streaming service where you have to pay $30 for it, despite the fact you're already paying for the streaming service. Not only that, but the location of where it was filmed is a big hot button issue. Now, if you're wondering, this is the penultimate PC Principal plotline, I promise, but I could see this being a PC Principal episode only because of what the subject matter is. Plus, last season the PC babies didn't really like Mulan on Disney+, so maybe they'll like Mulan live action. In the episode, maybe him and Strong Woman try to support the movie, and they don't realize all the controversy behind it. And then when they realize all the controversy, they still have to wrap their minds around the fact they have to support this movie. You can also do one on live-action Disney remakes in general, where they don't really do much work, and then they just make a bunch of money. A Christmas or another holiday episode in general. Now, admittedly, I don't really have a lot of ideas for this, but it's kind of a tradition at this point. They either do a Christmas or a Thanksgiving or a Halloween episode, so I really want to see what they'll do this year. Maybe for Halloween they do Murder Hornets or something like that. Number 15, a Kanye West episode. South Park has a lot of people they repeatedly make fun of, like Saddam Hussein or Barbra Streisand. However, the funniest to me has to be Kanye West. Well, Saddam Hussein's probably a close second, but they don't show him anymore. The episodes that make fun of Kanye West are probably some of the funniest of the whole show, like Fish Sticks or The Hobbit, so they can always do a sequel to those where, say, Kanye becomes a born-again Christian and he tries to run for president. Maybe they do a debate episode and it's Garrison and Kanye and Biden. Like, that would be freaking hilarious if they did that. An Antifa episode. Now, admittedly, I don't know that much about it, but it is a far-left movement that does attack people they view as being fascist or outright. So I could see them talking about it here. Now, this is the last PC Principal episode I'm going to mention. I could see maybe, say, he joins a movement and he doesn't realize he's part of Antifa until it's too late. Because something we do know about PC Principal is even if he goes too far, he does kind of have a conscience to him. He was the only member of the PC frat house who actually joined the movement to help people instead of just getting girls. Since last episode had him learning a lesson, maybe they can do it again this time, or do it with Strong Woman or something like that. And that is a whole lot. I'm almost out of breath. Now, if you have any ideas or disagree with me, just tell in the comment section below. Be respectful and don't try to attack people. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed the video.